Okay, this is something I've been trying to articulate for a while, and every time I try, I just sound like I'm shitting on the info industry. So, disclaimer: I'm not shitting on the. I love the info industry. All right, I'm not shitting on any. Okay, I'm just trying to. We're all thinking this, so I'm trying to articulate it. First off, most people in our online business space, right? Most of it, especially starting out, is knowledge work. It's not entrepreneurship in the sense of you're starting an entity, you're starting a business, you're selling product, you're running traffic, you're making conversions, you're improving the product. Most of it is glorified freelancing. Like, that's how most of us start, which is a good thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But if that is the case, then for the first portion of business, your career trajectory, your professional trajectory, the goal is to get better at your skill, because you get paid in the proportion of how good your skill is. And the reason we start usually in these sort of like service businesses is because they're the best business to start, right? Like, I don't really think that's debatable. It's margins are ridiculous, and you can basically get started for free, and you can get really good at a high-paying skill pretty quickly for free, like on YouTube and Twitter, right? Like, obviously. Okay, so now it's out of the way. I think too many people are starting to run a business too early. I think everyone gets so caught up in entrepreneurship and business that they kind of fail to recognize, like, you're just getting paid for a skill, and that could be a really high paying skill, and you can get paid a lot of money for that skill, and you're inbound or outbound for attracting potential clients to do that skill for, like, that can scale and that can be systemized. But to go from that to business is like, it's a big leap, and it should be a natural leap. And what I see people doing all the time is starting a skill and then getting better at that skill, and then they just forget to keep getting better at the skill, and they start worrying about, cold email, or they start worrying about running ads, or they start worrying about doing content, or they start worrying about sales, they start worrying about fucking Notion documents and Trello boards and Airtable and like all this. And it's like, you're supposed to just get better at the skill, dude. Like, that's for the good first portion forever. You should never stop getting good at the skill. Like, the best founders in the world are still highly competent at what they do, right? But this idea of like being an operator and starting to delegate yourself out of the business and starting to systemize, like, you do want to run an efficient business, and there is a lot of truth in this idea of like building a business for exit day one. But very few people that I come across in this space, even really successful people, are not even entrepreneurial. They don't want to build a big thing with moving parts and staff, and they just want to make a lot of money in a really high growth vehicle. And that's getting really good at a skill, right? You look at like Stephen Georgi, right? Like the $1 billion copywriter, charges like 40 grand for a sales letter. Like, he didn't need to systemize everything and start delegating and start bringing on talent and start high. He just needed to keep getting so good that people paid him a shit ton of money to write sales letters. And what he's doing now is like completely separate, because he's a builder, he's an entrepreneur, he's doing the, whatever he's doing. And so the reason I say this is, like, I think the business space is backwards, where, again, it used to be if you wanted to become successful, you got skilled at something, and then you got really skilled at that thing, and then you got paid a lot of money for it, and then you started building a business to deliver that skill for more people, or you roll the capital that you generate from that skill into a higher leverage business, right? You see like the typical pipeline of everyone goes from info to SaaS to e-com or whatever. It's the same reason. And so it's no longer the case. And this is when it gets a little like hairy. So I apologize. But like this whole push of, bringing more people into the info space, and like we're going to help, 1 million teenagers make $5,000 a month online with their, XYZ community. It's like, what the fuck do they know, dude? What are they good at? What are they good enough at to successfully monetize a skill-based business? Again, to be clear, if you're a teenager or if you're teaching teenagers to start with like an e-commerce store, that's different because you're not getting paid in the proportion of your skill. And this is the key point, other businesses are not dependent on how highly competent you are at your skill. This idea that's been in the space for 7-8 years now, of like the best path forward is learn a skill for a week or two and then go pitch businesses and like do outreach and then, kind of like learn, and then maybe you fail your first couple. That's ridiculous from the other side. The problem is so many people, 90% of people in the space have never hired, right? So if you are in a course, right, like a SMMA course, and you're learning how to do outreach and you're learning how to do the service fulfillment, you've never been on the hiring end. So in your eco chamber, right, and this course and everybody on all these student wins and all these programs, you're like, yeah, I'm going to send fucking 100 emails a day and I'm going to scale this up. But you don't have the context to be like, bro, if you got pitched, if 10 years from now you got pitched from a 17-year-old kid who's fabricating testimonials and lying about social proof and like making these crazy claims, and like imagine you found out that, like, oh, they're actually getting paid to learn, like they're charging you, and you were putting the integrity and the success of your business, say Facebook ads, for example, right? So you're running like Facebook ads for e-commerce brands, and you're in like a how to start a SMMA for e-com brands. Imagine you're an e-com brand owner and your ads working is the lifeblood of your business. Like if your ads don't work, your business is fucked, and you have $300K of personal capital into this business because you're doing like a fully like built from scratch supplement brand. Like you skipped the white labeling. You really wanted to formulate this like organic formula. You had to do all the manufacturing. You had a bunch of upfront capital, so you invest it. And then this kid comes along and is like, you should entrust the entire success of your 7-figure business in my hands so I can get my first win. And, I might mess it up, and I don't really know how to run Facebook ads. I've never actually done it before, but trust me, what? Like, and this is what I mean. Like, am I crazy? Like, that makes no sense to me. Am I crazy? Because to be clear, I used to do this. Everyone used to do this. Like, when I was first starting out and I was in, and I was doing that outreach. Like, I do it now. But now, I have somewhat of a following, so I get, 5-6 cold DMs a day. And I'm like, what are you talking? Like, who the fuck? Who's going to hire you? Like, it makes no sense. It makes no fucking sense. And like outreach makes no sense. Like none of that makes sense. Needing a script makes no sense. You should just be so good at the skill that people will pay you to do it. If I'm hiring a media buyer, I promise you, I'm not hiring any media buyer that's in my DMs. I'm reaching out to people in my network and going, yo, I need a media buyer. And they'll go, oh, you got to get this guy, or you got to go on this placement agency, or you got to do this. Or if I do get pitched, it's not going to be some fucking script. It's going to be, hello, Riley. I have done this result and this result and this result for people that in your niche, and I charge this much, and I have this guarantee. Are you interested? And honestly, if someone pitched me on that, I'd be like, probably. I don't even fucking really need media buying right now, but I'll figure out how to do it because I'm a logical business owner, because that makes sense. That's what you do, right? And so without getting like too schizo off track, I think this is downstream from modern education. And it actually is why, like, as much shit as I give this kind of new info space, which I'm not trying to, I'm sorry. I am bullish on this idea of like reforming the education system. It is like an angle for Iman to sell challenge funnels, but it does fundamentally make sense because think of it. Like think of if you want to be a welder, right? You decide that you want to get good at the skill. And then you start learning the skill. And then you pay a couple grand to go to college, right? Or like apprenticeship school. I'm not sure the blue collar terminology. And you learn how to weld. You're not good at it, but you're learning. You're learning directly from somebody who is currently welding, right? That's what an apprenticeship is. So they are currently a highly skilled welder, and you're learning how to weld from them. And you work for free until you get good enough where you can charge. And then you do your test, and they literally, Google it. This is just for Welling specifically, because I literally fucking researched it like 5 minutes ago. You do a live test, and you do and then they give you an hourly rate. They go, oh, that's a clean weld. You're at $28 an hour. And congratulations, you now make $28 an hour. And then you go and you get a job for $28 an hour, and you get better. And then you charge 30, and then you charge 40, and then you charge 50. And then you bring on your own apprentice, and then it restarts. And then, 20 years down the road, congratulations, you own a successful company because you're highly skilled at the thing. It scales in proportion. And so I think that kind of got fucked when the entire education system switched to go to school for 4 years, learn from somebody who's never done it before, don't actually learn how to do it, learn the theory of it and the history of it and the fucking, DEI of it. And then you get this piece of paper that gives you permission to now go get a lot of money in like how the school used to work. And you don't even know how to fucking do the thing. And so I think that's just like translating down. But it is asinine to me as a business owner to pay somebody who is not good at the thing. What? That makes no sense. And then another thing, this whole like work for free. Listen, nobody who is successful, and I'm not even saying like I'm successful, I just mean anyone who's running a business that is like working does not have time to fucking help people out, right? The philanthropic desires of business owners is not in the early days, tell you that much. And so again, if someone's reaching out to me and it's like, hey man, I'm just kind of getting my few first case studies under my belt, and so I'd love to like work for free on Work for Performance. No, I'll go hire a media buyer because I know I'll hire them for $4,000 a month and 15%, and I'll like basically guaranteed to make that back if my offer doesn't suck and I have good ad spend. Like it just makes no sense. So we're literally just in this twilight zone, and it's something that I realized this a year ago, and that's why my path is very unorthodox compared to most people, especially compared to like there was kind of this freshman class of Money Twitter that all joined around the same time as me, right? Like off the standing on the shoulders of the OG Money Twitter space. And I think if you're like measuring objectively from a monetary standpoint, there's definitely an argument that I'm not winning that class, that I'm not graduating that class with honors. I mean, I know a lot of guys who started at the same time as me who are like crushing it, $100K a month as growth operators or whatever. And it's like, it just never made sense to me. I don't know. I just couldn't rack my brain around it. Where I was like, I'm young and I want to get really good at this skill, right? Marketing. And so I'm not going to focus on like scaling an agency. I'm going to focus on getting really damn good at the skill. And then eventually, if logic makes sense and gravity works, then I'll just get paid a lot of money for it because my skill meets the demand of the market, and it's worth it because a business owner will spend $100,000 to make $500,000 back. Again, Stephen Georgie, a business owner will easily spend $40,000 on the sales letter if they know they're going to 10x that with some affiliate traffic. And so I think I titled this video something snarky like, why are you lost in business? Or like, you should never be lost in business. And the reason I titled it that is because, you should never be lost. You would never go to a painter and have that painter be like, I'm just lost right now. Lost for what? Go paint. Go make 50 more paintings, dude. Get better. Right? You never go to a musician and be like, oh, I'm just so lost right now. Lost on what? Go fucking play your guitar more until people will pay you to play on their songs. And so again, this is specifically for like knowledge-based and skill-based professional career trajectories, which is what most people are on. Most people are not on a trajectory to start a big company and have this big startup and, product and inventory, or even if it's info, like, having fulfillment and having coaches and having CSMs and having media buyers and having sales reps and all this. Like, most people aren't trying to do that. Most people are just trying to get really good at something that rich people value highly and will pay them a lot of money. Not a lot of money in proportion. It's a great deal for them proportionately, but proportionately for you, what you can go make in a fucking career, right? One client could be your entire monthly salary, because that's just how economics works. Get better at the skill. Get better. I've sat at this computer for like 12 hours a day for 2 years. It just focused on getting better at my skill. And guess what? People pay me for it now. And I have to turn most of them down. And I don't do any fucking outbound. And sometimes for shits and giggles, I'll like launch an offer on my Twitter and sell it out in 9 hours. And not fake seriously, because I'm fucking out of capacity, because I'm good at my skill. And there's only so much I can do because it takes a while, right? That's how it works. That's how consulting works. That's how that's how it's supposed to work in a knowledge, skill-based business. So if you're lost in business, and I've been there too, right? I'm fucking sitting there and I'm watching like Sam Ovens videos, like, oh, I'm trying to journal. And I have this fucking whiteboard, right? I'm like, oh, I just don't know what to work on next. Like, work on getting better at the thing that people are paying you for. And it's crazy to me that this is not, like, not to throw shade, but a lot of especially early days of agency courses didn't even teach service delivery. They didn't even teach fulfillment. I don't know. It's just asinine to me, man. Like, and it's why I say it, and I'm pretty vocal about this, that like very, very few people I think are qualified to be an agency owner. Being an agency owner is a skill in itself, and it takes a certain caliber of person that loves customers and loves clients and loves delivering. Like, I think telling people that they're going to have a lifestyle business and achieve financial freedom and sit on the beach all day by having a business model that is fundamentally convincing other businesses to entrust you with the success of their business overall, especially if it's, a marketing, like a revenue generating task, and then like not being good at it and then torching businesses. Here's the thing, like, if you ever hear, right, like Facebook ads is such a great example because you need capital, right? Like you need ad spend. So if you ever hear somebody who's like running a successful Facebook ads agency and they're like telling their come up story, right? And they're saying, oh, those first couple of clients, I was young and I was trying to learn. It's like, you torched their businesses, dude. Like, yeah, it was a lily pad for you, but you fucked them. Like, they torched that ad spend and then got fucked, and now they're super skeptical to hire any other agencies. I know this because I work with a lot of agencies, and most agencies, especially in fairly commoditized industries, like lead gen's a great example, 98% of their prospects have already worked with a lead gen agency and have already torched it. They already had a bad experience. That's asinine. Dude, it's crazy to me. Like, imagine you go and you buy like a nice new Audi, right? And the transmission breaks. You're like, fuck, I just spent 80 grand on this Audi and it's going to be like 4 grand of repair. But you know what? I'm going to do it. And so you take it to a mechanic shop, right? And it's like this new mechanic and he's like all young and fired up. And you're like, yeah. And this guy's like, yeah, I have all this experience, blah, blah, blah. And then you like see him post on his Instagram, like, first client signed, baby, at howtomechanic.io. First 4K PIF. And they're like getting paid to learn. And you're like, that's my Audi, bro. What are we doing? Like, dude, you've never changed a transmission before? Like, you would be fucking livid. And that's just your car, let alone the business that keeps food on the table and pays your rent. I don't know. It's just asinine to me. So anyways, I'm getting off topic, and I said I wouldn't get fired up, and I'm getting fired up. If you're in a knowledge work field, if you're doing a skill, for the first couple years, you should just be getting good at that skill, because you'll scale, because word travels, and at the top it's all referral based. And so if you get in and you do good, they'll refer you to more people. You don't need to send fucking cold emails, and you can get to whatever dollar amount is high for you. And again, with like 98% margins, like, you're not scaling an agency, you're getting good at the skill. And it's not even a monetary thing, because it translates to everything. I've never met a good agency owner who's not really good at the thing themselves. Like, sometimes you got to let the coach on the field and, throw a fucking Hail Mary just to say that he still got it. I don't know, man. Makes no sense to me. You can basically like smack your head on the keyboard and make $100,000. So if they pay you 20, like, it's still a good deal. But then you get lost and then you get stuck. And then And there's just no pursuit in it. You know? You should be like perfecting your craft. You should be chasing mastery. You should be obsessed with it. You should be reading old books that were fucking banned, and you're like on LibGen, and you're like, you know, diving deep, and you're reading all these. I love reading old copywriting books. It's fun to me. I'm not fucking hand copying sales letters because they don't, you know, we're not doing direct mail anymore. But I love learning. I love picking up little gems and writing them down and being like, oh, I'm going to use that on my next sales letter. Like, that's fun. And I get paid directly in proportion to that. Every time I add a little thing to my, you know, notes, it's like, boom, there's 10 grand. Like, that's awesome. That's fun. And it's how it should be. Because the only reason that that's translating the 10 grand is because that is translating the 50 grand minimum for someone else. That's how it works. Fucking Newton's third law, I think, right? What's Newton's third law? For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. That's what I was thinking of, right? Yeah. Because if I make them money, then they make me money. But that's not opposite. I don't fucking know. I'm a copywriter, not a scientist. Anyways, go get good. Get better at your thing. If you get 5 times better at the skill that you're getting paid for, guarantee you're at least going to make 5 times more money. And I know, you know, that, I got to do output. Like, that's how it works. That's how life works. If you want to get better at painting, go paint more. If you want to get more hourly wages for being a welder, have cleaner welds. And then upgrade to a MIG welder. I think, right? Is that it? MIG welder. I fucking got it. Yeah. Back to work. Go get good.